Silence doesn't feel peaceful, it feels loud. In fact, it feels like torture, and I know because I've been there. You don't need to force yourself to sit still to fix a racing mind. In fact, that's the worst thing you can do for yourself when you're actually in that state. You need to give that chaos a container. You need to change what you're actually doing on your yoga mat so that it actually turns that noise down until it turns into a whisper and you can think clearly. We're living under this intense, unspoken pressure to have it all, to be it all, and to do it all. We want to have a thriving career, a pristine home, be the perfect parent, show up as a supportive friend, all while juggling our own health and doing everything super perfectly. And when you bring that same frantic energy to yoga, your practice becomes just another item on this long to-do list, and it's just another thing to get right. I'm Sushmita, but you can call me Sushi, and here on Sushi Yogi, we use the structure of the Ashtanga Vinyasa practice, not just to make cool shapes on the mat, but to dismantle that kind of mental pressure that we feel in our daily lives as women. And I dive much deeper into this in my Yoga Mastery program, which is linked down below. But today, I want to give you the absolute minimum that you need to know to find peace right now. We're going to use 3 specific tools that we use repeatedly in the Ashtanga sequence, which is Pratyahara, Interoception, and the breath dialogue. How many times have you been in a pose and instead of feeling all zen, you just end up staring at that piece of lint on the rug, or you're looking at your toenails and you're like, damn, I need a pedicure. We think the goal of yoga is to magically empty the mind completely, but that's just a lie. The mind is designed to think. It's like a machine. And if you try to stop it, obviously it's going to fight back. And the secret isn't to stop the thinking, it's to redirect the attention gently. And in this yoga philosophy, we call this Pratyahara, which is a Sanskrit word, which just means the withdrawal of the senses. Think of your senses, which is your eyes, your ears, your skin, all these things, as like tentacles that are reaching out into the world, trying to get distraction and stimulation. And when they kind of grab onto distractions and get caught, then they end up suffering and they're in that loop. But Pratyahara is an act of pulling those tentacles back in. And it's like starving those distractions so that you can actually feed your focus, feed the thing that you've decided that you're going to do. We often treat technique like a set of rules that we should follow in order to avoid injury. And yes, safety is super important, but the real purpose of technique in Ashtanga is to give your busy brain a job to do. And so when you're obsessing over whether your kneecap is lifted or if the outer edge of your foot is grounded down, your brain literally does not have the bandwidth to worry about tomorrow's schedule. And this is why I'm so strict about alignment in my classes. It's not about trying to be perfect, it's about trying to be present. So when I tell you to push your foot down or move your fingertips a little bit wider, I'm giving you a concrete task. And if your mind is drifting, it means that the pose isn't engaging enough for you yet. It's not challenging enough for you yet. You don't have another thing to work with. And so you need to dial up the precision. You need to give yourself a task to do. And so when you replace that mental chatter with a somatic sense of curiosity, then you can ask yourself, wait, what happened to my foot there? Did it kind of come off? What happened if my pelvis tilts this way? And so when you start to have this dialogue with your body, that technique itself anchors you. It forces you to be in the here and now because that's what the pose demands of it. Once you have the body mechanics, this is where we can really go a little bit deeper. And this is also where most people check out, but it's also where the magic actually happens. We move into interoception. Now, exteroception is seeing the room around you, and interoception is feeling the universe inside of yourself. It's the ability to sense your internal state, where your heartbeat lies, what's the temperature of your skin in the room, is there any tension in your gut, how are you feeling on the inside? And this is the antidote to burnout in feeling you're just so traumatized by life. Because burnout happens when we ignore our body's signals for too long. To fix this on the mat, we use a tool called the body scan. So when you're holding a pose, I just want you to scan your body like a spotlight that's moving from the crown of your head all the way to your feet. But you're not just looking for alignment or looking to correct yourself. You're looking for pockets or places where you're holding unnecessary tension. The constant weight of life often stores itself in like specific places. Maybe it's the jaw, maybe it's your neck and shoulders, maybe it's the space between your eyebrows. Different people have different places where they chronically store tension, but you're holding the pose with your legs. Yes, you're keeping them nice and firm, but are you gripping your teeth? Are you making like a fist with your hands unknowingly? And this is the stress of doing it all, which is manifesting in your body. And so interoception is realizing I'm safe in this intense pose. I don't need to fight it. I can actually let go and be a little bit calmer here. The next in our toolkit is the breath dialogue. Now, most of us, sadly, are shallow breathers. Whenever we get stressed, we breathe high and into the chest. And this signals to your nervous system that like a tiger is chasing you and that you should probably run. And if you're doing yoga with this kind of shallow breath and you're not breathing diaphragmatically, you aren't doing yoga, you're just doing calisthenics while being panic-stricken. So the breath is your remote control to the rest of your nervous system. And we need to establish an even rhythm through the steady sound of the 𝐦𝐨𝐫𝐞 breath. And so the dialogue that I want you to have with your body whenever this gets hard is that, okay, I'm going into the posture, and on the inhale, I'm going to try and create space in my body. So you focus on the technique, you focus on getting all of the details right, you lengthen the spine, you engage your muscles. But on the exhale breath, you trigger release. You tell your body to just soften your jaw, you drop your shoulders, and you let go of that mental grip around getting the pose. And so in essence, all I'm asking you to do is with each inhale, you're telling yourself, I'm here, I'm focusing on the technique. And with each exhale, you're like, I can let go, I don't have to grip so much. And this rhythm, trust me, it becomes hypnotic. It drowns out the buzzing noise in the background, and it replaces that frantic, I need to do it all energy with a simple biological rhythm of just being present and releasing the tension in your body. It's simple, but it's not easy. It takes time and it takes a lot of practice. And when you combine these three, Pratyahara, which is just ignoring everyone else in the room, you tune into that interoception, the feeling of the body, and you have this breath dialogue, you enter into a state of flow. And the silence isn't something that you have to chase, isn't something that you have to grasp. You don't have to force your brain to shut up. You just gave it something better to do. And you stop worrying about the dishes or the emails, even if it's just for the time that you're on the mat. Not because you're an irresponsible person, but because you're busy breathing. You're really, truly tending to this vessel of the body that takes care of all of those responsibilities. This practice can become the silent architect of your peace. It builds the structure deep inside of you so that any stress around you doesn't just knock you over. If you're tired of the noise, then stop trying to just relax. It doesn't work. There's a link below for my Yoga Mastery program that systematically teaches you how to start training your attention. It will feel like a godsend for your tired brain. So stop fighting yourself and ask for help. Set up that call. We go through this step by step inside the program so you don't have to figure it out alone. But either way, thank you so much for watching till the very end. If you're enjoying these videos that I'm making for you, make sure to like, subscribe, and share this with a friend. It tells the algorithm that I can keep making more. Have a lovely day ahead, and I'll see you in the next one.